I feel weird. Yep, that's how we're starting this one. I turned 21 today and I feel weird. Cue title card.
You stupid.
Anyone else have things you've wanted to do for years that just linger in your head? You know you'd feel a lot better if you did them, and for some reason you just don't. I'm not talking starting a big project. I mean things you can do in an afternoon. Listening to indie music, painting, buying a pair of Converse, or piercing your ears, those are some of mine. It's not like there's anything wrong with any of these, it's just they're things I don't really see myself doing. I know what I like. I don't need to concern myself with anything else. It's the same reason I never like nicknames. I'm proud of knowing who I am, and I am my name. Another name is someone else entirely, isn't it? You always hear that college is where people find themselves, where people get used to trying this kind of thing. Frankly, I didn't think that would happen to me. I know who I am, said Henry a year ago. In my 20th birthday video, I said I like video games and math and mac and cheese. Always have, always will. But at the same time, a year ago, man, a month ago, I would have told you I don't think people really ever know who they are. I mean, how could you? People change so quickly that it's impossible to ever pin that kind of thing down. So if I can tell you I know exactly who I am, why do I want so badly to do things I feel like I wouldn't do? Bro, the call is coming from inside the house. You do not know who you are. But it's clear that the person you want to be is not the person you tell yourself you are. You just refuse to try things that might clue you into your identity. You know what? Maybe my cynical ass is right, and you can never really know who you are as a person. You know your favorite color, your favorite weather, your favorite restaurant in your hometown. But you can never describe who you are completely. You can see a seam here, an embroidered pattern there, but you can never step back and see the whole tapestry. I'm here to say it's important to try anyway. Pretending like I know who I am isn't going to give me the satisfaction, the closure I feel like it will. I mean, thinking about it practically, who wants to spend 5 years thinking about piercing their ears instead of just doing it and moving on to other things? Maybe once I get them pierced, I'll realize I want to start cooking. And I never will have had that revelation because I was too polarized on who I am before I even tried to find out. In that moment, I chose to kill a more self-realized Henry then, in exchange for pretend security now. Like I'm watching this ideal version of myself from the outside, as if it's this unachievable dream, when in reality, all I gotta do is spend 60 bucks on a pair of shoes. In my birthday video last year, I mentioned how I want to make more videos, and then I immediately backpedal into saying, well, I just don't have the time. This is still the case, and in truth, I can say I had even less time to make videos this year, especially with things like club involvement and a harder course load. But that didn't stop me. I put out 4 main channel videos, which is 4 more than I made the last 3 years. And they're not perfect, far from it, but that's kind of the point. They're just meant to be little checkpoints where I can look back and see where I was at the time. Kind of like little time capsules. For the next year, I want to be more committed to my projects. I uploaded 4 here, but I worked on at least 5 more that never saw the light of day. I think I have some damn cool ideas, and it'd be a shame to let them go to waste. What makes me feel good is making stuff I think is cool. And so I'm going to try to do that more at 21. I know I'll still be afraid to commit to these bigger projects, but I at least want to open After Effects before I turn 22, you feel me? Even excluding making videos, commitment to myself is definitely something I've realized I struggle with. It's funny how much grace you can give other people while selling yourself short every chance you get. So maybe that's another goal for next year. I want to take myself more seriously. Instead of just listening to that voice in my head when it's convenient, to try to get better at listening to myself no matter the situation. I'm not one to hold grudges, and I'm getting better at leaving regrets behind, but it's hard to deny that I could have saved myself from some real shit this year if I had acted in my own interest. Also, real shit, I think I need a skincare routine. I had to rewatch my video from last year a couple of times to really understand what I wanted to talk about for this one. And one part that really stuck out to me was this gnawing feeling I described, of feeling like I needed to grow as a person. It's been made really clear to me this year that there is literally nothing to worry about there because we're changing every day. I could be sat in a room by myself for the next 50 years, and by the time I get out, I wouldn't be the same person. I don't think. That's just what being a person is. Just because I feel like I wasn't getting anywhere doesn't mean that was necessarily true. And I think that change in attitude was not just limited to how I observed self growth. A number of perspective shifts occurred since I turned 20, and a bunch of doors are opening for me because of it. Last summer, I worked a job at an elementary school, and I ended up liking it so much I'm considering teaching now. I dormed with two of my best friends at college, and now I haven't completely lost hope in giving in living with other people again. I started cooking for myself, and that got me to start prioritizing myself in a more fun way, like making food for myself just the way I like it. But I think out of all the changes I've undergone this year, what I think is the most important, and the one that's definitely my favorite, is starting to respect my adult self. I think that my video last year was a turning point in my life. Maybe because I forced it to be, but not only leaving my teenage years, but choosing to leave teenage habits like self deprecation behind. And that's really put me on track to figuring out who I want to be from now on. Honestly, it's gotten me thinking about myself. I do not feel like I align with the archetypal man anymore. Maybe I never did, but I'd never really thought about it until recently. And honestly, I have no idea what I'm talking about with this kind of thing. Um, the thought had not crossed my mind until very recently, but I might not know exactly what the implications are of feeling like this, but I do know that something is tangibly different now, and I need to talk about it. Maybe not like to tell other people, but just like to work myself through it. So, about a month ago, I tried one of those things I never thought I would that I mentioned in the beginning of the video. One of my best friends was celebrating his 21st, and for his last birthday, I dressed up in a funny costume, even though it was not a costume party. So this year, his invite said to go for it, full costume. So I knew I had to ball out, of course. I ended up deciding to go as Magic, specifically the Marvel Rivals version. Yeah, Magic, the latex wearing, alien fighting demon woman. Kind of far from math and mac and cheese, but I digress. I spent the month before the party hitting up stores all around my town, finding bits of clothing that would tie together into a Magic cosplay for the party. I told myself I was doing it for the bit. And honestly, I was pretty on the nose in guessing the reactions to my costume would be worth it. But surely that was the only reason I was excited to dress up, right? The day finally came, and from the moment I began to assemble the costume, reality set in. And I was so on edge, it felt like I was deserving of a legitimate anxiety diagnosis. Oh, yeah, I got a legitimate anxiety diagnosis this year. But with the advent of painting my nails, wearing a wig, and putting on makeup, I was doing everything I could to stay boarded up in my room, since it felt like all eyes were on me. Definitely did not help that my window doesn't have blinds, but I really wanted to take off the costume and even consider dodging the party altogether, but thankfully spending a large fraction of your unemployed bank account is a pretty good motivator. Finishing the costume was a different story, though. A lot less anxiety. I think it took legitimate courage to walk out of my room for the first time, but I'm glad I did. The party was great, and once I got over my nerves, I had a really memorable night with a bunch of people I like. But I don't want to just talk about how good of a time I had. I mentioned earlier that there feels like there's something tangibly different in my brain since that night. At the end of the night, I laid atop the air mattress in the middle of my friend's cleared out apartment, trying to make sense of all the feelings I was having. And my thought process kind of went as follows. I had a lot of fun dressing up as Magic that night. Maybe suspiciously much. I don't know. Maybe I learned some stuff about myself tonight. Maybe I should do this again. Maybe I should dress up as someone new. Maybe I should paint my nails and put on makeup again and I laid on that air mattress just thinking. Yeah, it was like a new path opened up in my brain and I was trying to sprint right for the end from the get-go. But if there is an end to that train of thought, it's been a month now and I still haven't gotten there yet. But I never really questioned so many different parts of my life in one fell swoop. It was scary, but it also felt really freeing at the same time. Having proof that I'm more than the identity I boxed myself into had me legitimately beaming until I passed out for the night. Plus, going this far off the deep end is surely going to make future things I want to do for myself way less intimidating. Not that I won't be nervous, but at least I'm not in full cosplay, you know? Part of me wishes I had all these new feelings figured out, but the optimist in me is excited that I get to feel these feelings out. There's motivation to go out and try these things that I've always wanted to do. To get my ears pierced, or to paint my nails, or to fucking buy Converse. I'm definitely still scared because this is also new to me, but it's still just me I'm dealing with. It's not any new problems or wants I'm running into, just a new frame to look at them with, and that's exciting. Frankly put, this past year I spent a lot of time with people who were lost, confused, in denial, or just assholes. Honestly, myself included, for a lot of that. I'm trying to take some good from that in the form of trying not to let my mental get to that point. So I think talking about finding myself is a pretty good step in the right direction. Maybe I was right in thinking nicknames are different people, and maybe I was those people at some point. Maybe Big H was just the version of me on the high school swim team. Maybe Hank is who I just was is who I was as a toddler. And maybe I'm different enough of a person now compared to who I see Henry as, to where I'm more befitting of another name lately. But honestly, who knows? I mean, hell, if it's me we're talking about and I don't know, then, you know, I don't expect you to know. I just know I'm going to keep looking. Don't expect me to change my pronouns or anything anytime soon, but just know that for now, I'm lurking and I'm stalking when you least expect it. Hopefully, as per my Instagram vote, sometime by 22 I've dressed up as the Dark Souls 3 Firekeeper. I guess that's my goal from this section. I ended last video by leaving a message for my future self that I felt wrapped up what I learned in the last year, and I think I want that to stay a tradition. So, future self, here's what I want to tell you. Fuck what you're good at. Do what makes you happy. Even if you're shit at something that makes you happy, it's worth it. Every time. Because with enough practice, you'll get good at anything. So do what you want to do. It's your life. Future self, I love and respect you, and I'm very glad you get the chance to live your own life. So you better fucking do it. Don't squander all this potential that I have and go live life the way that you want to. The way that I want to right now. These are so weird. I don't think it's gotten any easier recording just like talking to a monitor, but to whomever is watching this video, whether it's my future self or not, thank you. I don't know how to say this without feeling like a cringe, like, myself when I was 12, like, oh, thanks so much for watching my video, but it is honestly like a lot of fun to make this kind of video. So, just have a conversation with myself, and it's cool to see that these are actually getting some traction. Like, not that I care about views or anything anymore, but I think it's cool. I know that I'm making my 12-year-old self really proud, and that like warms my heart. But yeah, that's it for me. Same time next year.